68 to 35. And he has, just about 140,000 votes. Coming from 284, that's about 144,000 votes. Actually, he's gone to less than half. So far, he's not even hit the halfway mark. William Ruto, on the other hand, has 248,330 votes at 63%. Still not where Raila was last time, but definitely ahead of Raila. And when it was the Ruto team, it was 126,475, which was 30%. So, there's been the argument that, one, Weta has been a significant push to this. That's Moses Wetangula. As much as some had, somewhat underestimated him, we have seen that, Bungoma has gone in the yellow direction in regards to our color scheming of the map. Even the governor's seat, Wangamati is on the Azimio side, but he has lost to Kenneth Lusaka, who is on the Kenya Kwanza side. What's your view on that in regards to the numbers and just those dynamics?
Very, very complicated, but interesting. And again, anything I would say should be subjected to very thorough research after the election. But just on the last point, you might use the analogy of chicken and egg. When Senator Moses Wetangula and former Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister Musalia Mudavadi decided to join the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, did they do that because they had sensed that's where their constituents were, in Vihiga, Kakamega, and in Bungoma for Senator Wetangula? Or can we say that most of these gains, or most of what the Deputy President gained compared to what his President had last time, about half, as you said, 30% versus his 60% plus now, was that because of their influence on the ground in bringing, we're just talking about Bungoma here,
yes,
but for Wetangula in particular. So that's like a chicken and egg. What was really the cause and what was really the effect? But without having the opportunity at this stage to do that kind of research, which would be challenging, but still could be done, I think Bungoma, along with several other counties, really does capture one very critical aspect of this election, which we're all aware of, but this puts it in numbers. And that is the general exchange of roles that happened after the handshake, where Raila Odinga became a partner with the president, first geared towards BBI, and then more recently towards the election. And once he left that position of de facto as well as official leader of the opposition, there was a chair, an empty chair sitting there, surrounded by a lot of goodies, which immediately was sat on by the deputy president. As I think I mentioned the other day, in a survey that we did late last year, we asked, as far as you know, who's the leader of the official opposition? Most people mentioned Raila. Then the next question was, which leader, wherever they are, has been most active in criticizing the government, trying to hold it to account? And more people named William Ruto, the deputy president of the very government, than Raila Odinga. So just look at these numbers. I mean, William Ruto has got basically the same percentage as Raila got last time. And Raila basically the same percentage that the outgoing president Uhuru Kenyatta got last time. So they've just changed clothes. Now, again, what's underlying this? We need to do some research on the ground, but basically we can say, subject to qualification, in both this election and the last one, people in Bungoma were unhappy with the status quo. They wanted to support someone that would bring change, and in the last election, 2/3 thought Raila would bring that change, and in this election, nearly 2/3 think that William Ruto would bring that change. And I would guess that these numbers would be pretty much the same, regardless of what Senator Wetangula had strategized. Now, he might criticize me and say, no, I'm the one who should take credit. But hey, we know what the history of voting has been in Western since the return of multi-party politics. So I'm sure there will be a number of other counties. If we had time, we could probably sit here, you and me, till 5 in the morning
I know.
and get a number of where we've seen the same pattern, where people who were opposition last time, the numbers are basically the same, but the figures, the leaders, the candidates that opposition is attracted to have reversed because of the handshake.
Okay, Good. That's good analysis of the same. Let's quickly take
subject to criticism by others, of course.
Of course, definitely, and confirmation of some of the numbers.
Yes. Where do you want to go next? Meru or where? Or
okay.
Laikipia or?
Let's do Meru.
Meru.
Once I get it with my chubby fingers.
I can find it.
Okay. So we have.
Or have I lost
there we
my
go.
figures?
I have Meru there. No, that's Tharaka.
I had another piece of paper that I think Smriti ran off with, but that's
Smriti has taken.
Yeah, my other pages in
Doctor. You've taken.
I'll forgive her though.
She's forgiven, I believe. Smriti, wherever you are, you're forgiven for taking the good doctors. All right. Before we wind up, let's look at.
Hey, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
The exact same pattern. Look at this. Uhuru last time, 89%. The deputy president, 78%. They've switched.
And Raila Odinga had 10%, now 21%.
Doubled with the support of the president.
Yeah.
But again, one of the main questions that has been raised, and we've seen it all over the mountain, because that's the front yard and backyard of the president, is in this endorsement of the former prime minister, how much support from his traditional, his local, bastion, regional bastion, would the president be able to hand over to Raila?
Okay.
And certainly, as you say, it's doubled, but...
And so what's your take on the fact that, William Ruto is this popular, but his UDA candidate did not win the governor's seat. It was won by an independent, that is Kaweria Mwangaza. And, she's ousted the Azimio guy, that is Kiraitu Murungi, who's, a long-serving politician. What's your quick view, briefly, before we come to a close? Again,
I'm not sure. I don't have much information about Madam Mwangaza in terms of once she's a governor, her alliance to whichever coalition. I would suspect, and I'm just guessing, that she has tried to keep an arm's length from it, because if she was too closely identified with Kenya Kwanza, she would have been splitting the anti-establishment vote with Senator Linturi, probably allowing the incumbent outgoing government Kiraitu to keep his seat. So I'm really fascinated to get information about that race. But we know that in the last election, that was a very narrow win of Kiraitu, I think 52% over Peter Munya, who in PNU, with 48%.
Yeah,
so it's not, pardon?
Yeah, in 2017, yes.
Yeah, so Governor Kiraitu, his position or margin of victory last time wasn't huge, and I think that's what may have attracted Kawira. But it's a fascinating question. I hadn't thought much about it the last couple of days.
It's a good case study to look at.
We know, maybe I'll go up to Meru. I haven't been there for about 3 years, and see if I can have a cup of tea with her before she gets sworn in and so busy running the county, because I think that's a fascinating case, whether she made any public statements inside of this tug of war on the mountain as to whether follow the president's urgings or jump to the de facto opposition, even if Linturi was competing with her for that position, being, as you said, the UDA candidate. Okay.
And so as we come to a close, we may not be able to go through others. Very quickly, I know you are listening to the discussion that Smart was having with his guests on the other side, at the Bomas. Quickly, you had 2 comments to make on that.
Well, I actually came up with a couple more. But, fascinating discussion. I'm glad I wasn't there because I was too busy listening. But just a couple of things that people can listen to and take, whatever.